Tonight here at the City Ground, Nottingham Forest host Malmö in the Europa League. It is, of course, a fixture that rings through the ages for all Forest fans, given the Reds beat the Swedish side in the 1979 European Cup final. Tonight we celebrate, and we're also going to speak to some of those magic men from Munich.
Robertson, the first time we've seen them attack them, and there's Francis! European Cup has come to Nottingham Forest.
The world-famous City Ground then. Later, Nottingham Forest versus Malmö 2025 edition here. But before then, we celebrate Munich in 1979. We'll hear from some of the key protagonists from that day live from the red carpet as Forest and Malmö come together to commemorate a game which means so much to these two clubs. It felt destined, didn't it, that these two would meet again? Not the first time the sides have squared off since the final, of course, but it is the perfect occasion to reflect upon and revel in an achievement which made Nottingham Forest a household name across the globe. So, whether you're reminiscing on memories from 79 or making up for moments you missed out on, sit back and enjoy the next half hour as we take a trip down memory lane. Shortly, we'll hear from the man who lifted the trophy, but first, let's remind ourselves how the cup was won.
We had to knock out the champions to remain in the competition.
Wants to do it, got a battling cross, Woodcock, and a superb goal from Barrett.
Should never ever forget the importance of the goal that Colin Barrett scored.
There, it's come to Dalglish. Oh, what a save!
Incredible atmosphere in the stadium.
A roll across the box, and it's got to be two. Bertels. Yes, indeed, he kept his cool so beautifully then. Anderson allowed to go. Oh, I say! Bill Anderson with a beauty. A great night for Brian Clough for Nottingham Forest. The City Ground at Nottingham on the banks of the River Trent stages a European Cup quarter-final for the first time. Bertels came in. Here's Gemmell.
It was a fantastic game.
Right, Bertels across O'Neill. Yes.
The trips that we had were phenomenal.
Turn Schuster. Oh, it's great, and a superb goal, John Robertson. What a fantastic goal by John Robertson.
You can always remember Peter Taylor coming in and saying, "We will win in Cologne."
Yes, he's done it! Nottingham Forest are in the European Cup final.
We were ready.
Looking for Bertels, and Bertels showing the pace for the first time. And onto the roof of the net. Battle for it, and battle well picked up. Bowyer! Burns. Oh, he's given it away to Schindler. And rescued by Shilton. Lost two important players before the start of the match, and have lost a third during the course of the first half. Robertson, the first time we've seen them attack them, and there's Francis! And Trevor Francis, the million-pound man, puts his name on the score sheet.
Making my debut in a European Cup final and scoring the only goal. Well, you can't get any better than that, can you?
This sort of thing from Anderson, just wants to remember in the first half. But it doesn't matter anymore. Nottingham Forest have done it.
Could it ever, ever happen to Nottingham Forest again? You never know what's going to happen.
So that's how Forest did it back in 1979, picking up this glorious trophy in Munich. It was £1 million man, of course, that sealed the victory. However, John McGovern, the skipper, led them there up the steps to hold this trophy aloft. Let's get his recollections on that glorious night back in 1979.
One night in 79.
Robertson, the first time we've seen them attack them, and there's Francis!
Yeah, you can always remember coming down the tunnel because it's a little claustrophobic because you're very, very close, very, very close to the opposition as well. But obviously as part of the build-up, you just can't wait to get out there on the pitch itself. Ball's played out to John now, and this is a position that he thrives on. Just got a fullback, he's got two fullbacks, but they stand too close together. Puts a cross in. Great ball from John there. Trevor Francis backing him up by getting in the danger area, and then it's a great cross, so it gives Trevor enough time to make up ground and then put in the header that scores, and that's it. Well done, Viv. The whistle goes and we've won. Wasn't actually beaming because I was thinking about my dad at the time, who'd passed away many years ago. And then he grabs it, and I'm going, hey, it's mine.
Miles and John McGovern holds the European Cup aloft.
The years advance and you get together and you're here today on a lovely occasion. There are, of course, teammates that are no longer with us anymore and able to celebrate these types of reunions. Does that put it into a bit more of a sharper focus, as inevitably we all get older, don't we?
Well, obviously time passes, you know what I mean, and people pass away, and obviously Trevor Francis, the scorer of the goal, he's passed away. Larry Lloyd, the centre-half, he's passed away, and we've got John Robertson, who's in a hospital and maybe might not come out of hospital, and strangely enough, you mentioned those two players. Trevor Francis scores the goal. John Robertson, our best player, produces a cross that is absolutely world class to allow him to score the goal. So, obviously, it's a sad moment when you think about them not being here to celebrate kind of the revival of a game against the opposition. But time goes on and life goes on, so you have to just get on with it.
Very true, but it's a pleasure to be here, John, to speak to you and see everyone come together again, because undoubtedly it was a win that put Nottingham Forest on the map. Well,
yeah, it was, but just a great team. And when I think back to the number of accolades that we've had from different people, and they tend to forget, at one stage we went 42 league games without losing. But when it happened, we're at Coventry City Football Club, and a journalist brought a bottle of champagne to the dressing room after the match. Now, when he knocked on the door and I saw Brian Clough go to answer it, I thought, this guy's in trouble. He's in big trouble here, knocking on the door straight after the final whistle. So Brian Clough, as usual, opens the door. Yes, what can I do for you? And I'm going, he's going to get it here. And he goes, Brian, you've gone 42 league games without losing, which is the equivalent of a whole season. I've brought you a bottle of champagne. And Brian Clough he was just stalled then and went, oh, thank you very much. And he brought it in. The only thing the lads were absolutely gutted about, one bottle of champagne.
Especially in that era, John.
A full squad with
my word, I'm sure that went down like a lead balloon.
So we got a sip each.
Sip each. It'll be more than a sip tonight. Congratulations and enjoy your evening.
Thank you very much. All the best.
Brilliant.
Always a treat to hear from John McGovern, still such an important part of the club today. And of course, something Forest pride themselves on is that link between past and present. And in that spirit, we can show you a clip now of a lovely chat David conducted with two of the heroes of 79, Viv Anderson and Gary Birtles, and two men writing new chapters in the history of the Reds, Elliot Anderson and club captain Ryan Yates.
we've got to mention what this place is like on a European night, haven't we? It's been folklore for such a long period of time for, as I said, a generation of the fans and players, but now it's back. It just looks and feels immense.
It's class.
Yeah. Well, people say to us, what was it like in your day? I bet it was really loud. And we say, no, compared with now, every time Muller Kintyre comes on now, there's hairs in the back, absolutely every time. You know, I'm stood there in the stand singing it, you know, because it's special.
Cologne in the semi-final there, the atmosphere was unbelievable.
Yeah, but what it is now, it's just staggering.
Yeah.
It really is. Fans are brilliant.
It's better.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
I like to have a little look round. Just before kick-off, I'll have a little look round. And it definitely gets you going. As I say, I get goosebumps before I play, and yeah.
People used to say, "Can you hear it?" Or I said, "No, it's just like a drone in the background." You know, your concentration levels are that high. You just put everything else out of your mind and just concentrate on what's important.
You've got to thank the public as well. You sell out every week. You can't get a ticket.
No,
which is brilliant.
So the Malmö game, then, being able to, there can't be a week that goes by without people mentioning it to you and being around here and what it means to people. And it would have changed people's lives. It would have defined people's lives watching it.
I was lucky enough to be here for the draw with John McGubbin on the day.
There was something in the stars. It must have felt
we all
like
sat there, and as soon as Malmö came out, the whole room just erupted. Not me and John, but everybody realised that how important the Malmö thing was. And for the owner to invite the Malmö team from '79 over, what a class act that is as well. You know, it could be a really good night, but focus is on winning the game. Nothing to do with us. Yeah, it's nice. I mean, my granddaughter's going to be a mascot on the night as well.
Fantastic.
So that's going to be special.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's about these lads. You know, it's about what they're achieving.
Absolutely brilliant stuff. That well worth checking out the full 45-minute interview on Forest TV. Can't recommend it highly enough. Well, for Forest fans of a certain age, that night in Munich was one they'd never forget, and that certainly applied to a young player just starting out on his journey in professional football. He'd be signed by Brian Clough 6 years later, and he'd go on to make over 400 appearances in the Garibaldi and cement himself as a legendary captain at the City Ground.
And with Malmö to come later in November, of course, did that bring a smile to your face when you saw that was part of the schedule?
Yeah, an interesting one. It's obviously synonymous with the history of Forest. You know, I arrived probably 5 or 6 years after the original Malmö game, but that game is synonymous. It started the journey in Europe, if you like, and incredible. And the goal, and I was fortunate enough to play alongside the likes of John Robertson as well when I arrived, and he is just a cult figure at this football club, and it should bring back some brilliant memories for that generation of players as well, which is really important.
We'll come on to 1979 shortly, but what do you remember of the matches against Malmö in 95, 96?
Well, yeah, I even forgot that we played them on that cup run. Just really tight games, to be fair. The European campaign was new to us. We hadn't played in Europe because of Heysel and the like. And then we got the opportunity to play in Europe again. So we had some really tight fixtures. I think for the first 6 games, I don't think home and away we didn't concede a goal, which until we got to the quarter-final. But it was an eye-opener every time. And they were big occasions as well. I remember how heightened it was with the fans looking forward to these games because of the history with Malmö. I remember Larry Lloyd travelling with us. He was working for the local media. He travelled with us on the plane and stuff. And there was a real excitement about the likes of him and ex-players that had been around in that generation. And they were pleased to see another generation, as I'm pleased to see this generation back in Europe again.
If you can put it into words for us, what's it like running out of the City Ground for a fixture in Europe?
There's something a little bit special about it. There's no doubt about that. I think when you follow the history of what the club done at the back end of the 70s and 80s, you're acutely aware of the history that you've got to follow. That can either make you go under or inspire you. I think certainly it inspired us as a generation to try and emulate, at least on those nights, something that generation of players done, which will it ever get replicated again? Who knows? I hope so, but who knows? And just to run out, special evenings, night football as well under the lights, and with the fans, they'll be so buoyant and up for it. It'll be incredible.
Yes, we're still here waiting with bated breath on the red carpet. Understandably, of course, these men, these great men, catching up in the Garibaldi suite and reminiscing and sharing many, many memories of that historic night, winning this trophy back in 1979 in Munich. Of course, it's a big game tonight against the same side, Malmö, in the Europa League. And ahead of this one, let's get the thoughts of Sean Dyche.
Well, Sean, big night coming up at the City Ground. Of course, they all are in the Europa League, but given the history of Forest and Malmö and everything the club is doing around this game, feels even bigger than normal, this one.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I thought the Porto was a big game, the feeling of it, but also for myself coming in. But I think this one will certainly match that. I hope it does, because the atmosphere that night was absolutely superb. And the memories are different. You know, some people have been there all them years ago, some wouldn't have been. But I'm sure they all know a version of the story. I remember as a kid seeing Trevor Francis score and roll around the tartan track, you know, just as he put it in. But yeah, I mean, everyone will have a version of their memories, and hopefully we can go and take care of business. That's certainly what we're planning on doing.
Yeah, that will be the icing on the cake of the night, of course, is to get 3 Europa League points. But lovely touch from the club to get not only the Forest Miracle men, as many as they can, back for the night, but also many of the Malmö players that played in 79.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think the club have done a brilliant job there, and you know, in remembering for both sides. You know, I don't think that's an easy task logistically, I'm sure, but a lot of people have put a lot of effort in, so fair play to them.
Big game coming up. Europa League banners are up around the place again. All the history about Forest against Malmö. How much are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I mean, look, for me, it's kind of new, isn't it? You know, wearing the shirt, the badge, and standing on them sidelines, it's still got that real nice rawness, because it's quite new to me. You know, I've loved every minute of it so far. The challenges that they're quite evident to all of us. I'm more than willing to take that fixture list on. I want the players to be aware of that. I've shown them it, and I remind them it's not going away. That's where we're at. So yeah, I've really enjoyed every minute of it, and coming here and, you know, being on the right side of the shirt rather than the wrong side has been fantastic for me individually. I know for my staff that's quite obvious, but the players are showing signs again of, you know, revitalising that energy in their performances, and, you know, I want them to give everything. Minimum requirement is maximum effort, one of my many slogans that I throw around the players, but I think you're seeing that now. I think you're seeing a group of fully committed, and I love seeing players do that. I really do. You know, it's one of my trademarks of teams, if there is such a thing as a trademark from my teams, is they put their lot into the shirt. And I think that's such a valuable thing. And then we know they've got some quality as well, and I think they're beginning to show that too. So that's a really good mixture. We've got to keep consistently, to use that word again, consistently working at it day in, day out, until it just becomes stuck with what we do on every occasion, and that's what we're looking to achieve.
Well, he's made quite the impact so far, hasn't he, Sean Dyche? Not particularly experienced in European campaigns, but he's got off to a pretty good start in every competition thus far. Worth just marking your card for how things stand currently in the Europa League table, these massive new league tables. Forest starting the night 23rd out of the 36 teams, but it is so tight. They're only 4 points off fourth placed Celta Vigo. Remember, the top 8 teams at the conclusion of the league phase automatically through to the round of 16. If you finish in places 9 to 24, you go into the playoff round. Everybody else is eliminated. Forest, one of the later kickoffs tonight, so it'll all change by kickoff time at the City Ground, you would think. But it's a big game for the Reds, not just because of the sentimentality, but because they need to get some points on the board to assure that they are at least in the top 24 teams come the end of the league phase. You would say even bigger for Malmö, mind you. They are in 33rd position. They've only managed to take 1 point so far, so they desperately need something from tonight's game. After this, the Reds back-to-back away games in the Europa League. They'll go to the Netherlands to take on Utrecht. That's on the 11th of December. And then the competition's put on pause until 2026, end of January. A trip to Portugal to face Sporting Braga, and then Ferencváros, the final game. Ferencváros managed by Robbie Keane these days. As for Malmö, well, after tonight's game, they will play FC Porto. Actually had a pretty good campaign domestically, albeit maybe not quite to the level that they would normally have hoped for. Their domestic season has finished now, and they were 6th in the Allsvenskan table. So interesting to see whether that plays a factor in tonight's match. Their last league game was on the 9th of November, so only a couple of weeks ago. But they are having to keep themselves ticking over for European competition. It's something that is a bit of a handicap for teams whose seasons don't fit the regulation European calendar. Hopefully that is something that will play into Forest's favour tonight. Well, speaking of the game tonight, let's hear from somebody who'll be hoping to play a key part in it. Callum Hudson-Odoi.
Well, Callum, as always, ahead of a Europa League game, there's plenty of work going on at the City Ground. It looks a picture with the Europa League dressing on it, and they all feel big, don't they? They all feel massive games, quite rightly.
100%. I think, as I said, the competition we're playing in is huge. I think it's taken us a while for us, the club, to be back in the competition where it's playing in Europe, and obviously nights like tomorrow night will hopefully be an amazing night for all the fans, for the club. And so, as I said, the history of the game as well is an amazing fixture to be playing in, and I think we're going to do the best that we can to get a result. And yeah, nights like this is obviously going to be special. It's special to play in Europe, so hopefully we do well.
It's interesting that you bring up that history of the fixture as a current player. I was going to ask how aware of it you are, but clearly very aware.
Yeah, obviously we know that the club beat Malmö 1-0 to win the Champions League. So I think for us, you look at it and you'd be like, wow, so much history that's happened before us, and it's now like, let's try and create our own history. Let's try and do what they did back in the day and try and make more history here, more memories for everybody to remember, and be like, okay, we've done it now. We've hopefully gone as far as possible in the competition, hopefully winning it to the point where we're all confident, because we all have that belief, we all have that confidence in ourselves that we know we have the talent, we know we have the team ethic to go and win games and work hard, but it's always putting it down to the pitch, 90 minutes to prove yourself and get the win. So as I said, hopefully we'll do that tomorrow night as well.
1979 is one thing. I'm sure Ian Wone and Steve Stone have been talking to you about 95, 96 as well.
Yeah. To be fair, I've had a couple of conversations with them about it, and they were speaking about it. I think Ian scored the goal as well in the away leg. So yeah, I've spoken to him a couple of times about it. To be fair, he doesn't stop going on about it, to be fair. But they're all the staff members are amazing. I think since they've come in, they've helped us a lot, really, and pushed us every day. And as I said, games like that, when this history was made, I think you want to just go out there and just give the best that you can and hopefully get the result as well.
Well, the wait goes on, but there really is a sense of occasion here tonight at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest taking on Malmö. Chatting to John McGovern earlier on today, he said this day has been a very, very big build-up. They've been together since lunchtime. They've been spending a lot of time together with each other, reminiscing. I've seen Gary Birtles, Ian Bowyer, who was a coach here when I was a player, bless him. So many big names, so many big personalities over in the Garibaldi suite. Again, swapping stories, reminiscing. They're going to come through here, work their way through the red carpet. Once again, they're going to be in the boardroom. There's going to be speeches made in there. Stefan Tapper, of course, the Malmö captain on the night. John McGovern's going to say a few more words. And there's so much going on pre and in and around this game, giving the sense of history, giving the sense of ceremony that Nottingham Forest do so very, very well, honouring the men that really put this club on the map, and everyone that came after them simply standing on the shoulders of giants. However, the wait for those giants goes on, and I'm hoping in due course we're going to have some very special guests to talk to. Back to you, Matt.
Yeah, any moment now we are told that the legends will be making their way down. Just to put a bit more flesh on the route to the final in 79 for Forest, of course everybody knows about that famous win against Liverpool, and particularly how amazing Peter Shilton was in the second leg. After that, comprehensive victories over AEK Athens and the Swiss side Grasshoppers. And on paper, you might think that wasn't too impressive, but Grasshoppers had knocked out Real Madrid in the previous round. That was before Forest edged out Cologne in the semi-final. And lots of people writing the Reds off after the 3-3 draw in the first leg at the City Ground, people predicting that it would be heartbreak for Forest, but that Ian Bowyer goal that we saw earlier on the hour, ensuring that the Reds would return to Germany a month later. As for Malmö, their road to Munich saw them knock out Monaco. They also eliminated Dynamo Kiev, Wisla Krakow and Austria Vienna under the guidance of English coach Bob Houghton, who was seen as a real revolutionary in the Swedish game and in fact across European football. Forest became just the third club in the history of the competition to win the European Cup at the first time of asking. Only Real Madrid and Inter Milan had previously lifted the trophy during their first campaign in it. We know how hard it is to retain it, and that Forest, of course, managed to do that a year later, but that's one of those lesser known facts that's maybe not been heralded as much as it should, and puts into further contrast just what an incredible achievement it was by Forest to win the Cup. Mentioned at the top that this is not the first time that these two are meeting after 1979. I'm sure many people coming tonight and watching right now were at the games in the 95-96 season between the two teams. I know I was here at the City Ground for what was the return leg. Brian Roy with the crucial goal after Forest had lost 2-1 away from home. That was in the old days of the away goals rule, as we heard from Callum Hudson-Odoi there. Ian Wone scored away in Malmö, and that proved to be absolutely massive. And incredibly, one of the Malmö team in 95-96, Robert Pritz, who's here tonight, actually played in the European Cup final in 1979 as well. Incredible longevity in his career. And of course, it feels so sweet for Reds fans everywhere that Ian Wone and Steve Stone were a part of that team, and that they are back as a part of this football club. There's the main man, of course. Always touching to hear John talk about how his emotions were when he went up to lift the cup. Such an incredible player for Forest. So are we going to get as tight a game tonight, I wonder, as we did in 79 and in 95-96, where there was so little between the two teams? Mentioned Malmö's season finished a couple of weeks ago. They did at least finish it with a win, but their form overall pretty disappointing as the season finished off, including in this competition, hence why they've only got 1 point so far. Had to come through qualifying to get into the competition proper, and they've only managed to pick up 1 point so far at home to Dinamo Zagreb. But speaking of Malmö, why don't we go down to the red carpet, and David is with their captain from 1979. Let's hear it from Stefan Tapper.
Well, it's not just about Nottingham Forest tonight, it's about Malmö as well. Stefan Tapper, the skipper from that night back in 1979, joins me here today. Stefan, what's it been like so far catching up with all these players that you played against?
Well, it's a fantastic experience. We are very grateful to be here. Mm-hmm. It was an amazing moment when the invitation came. Mm-hmm. I almost didn't believe it. Yeah. So it's like a fairy tale to meet the boys again and remember a lot of things. Yeah. Not just the game, but just the way to the final and so on. Just to meet the guys from Nottingham Forest, but also meet our old lads, our old teammates.
Yeah. Are you the memories as vivid now as they were back then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think the more you talk about it, the bigger it gets.
Yeah, and that competitive spirit back then in the final, it was all smiles in there when I saw you all chatting together. Is it all friends now, being able to talk about memories of shared playing experience?
Yeah. I think it's we talk about not only the game, but how life is now and how it has been, and it's very similar. I think we are same age and we're a little older now, but the memories are always there.
And what about Malmö? What does Malmö mean to you?
Malmö means everything. I'm a lad from Malmö. I'm born there and I'm going to die there. So Malmö is everything. Malmö is a city where Malmö FF is almost the only club. When they ask me where are you from, I say Malmö. And they ask me what club do you like, I say Malmö. I don't say the city Malmö. I don't say Malmö FF. I say Malmö. So it's very important for me.
And it was an historic night for Nottingham Forest to win. Just how big was it for Malmö to get to the European Cup final?
It was unbelievable because we were not professionals. So we had to work and so on, but we got a great coach from England, Bob Houghton, 74, and he introduced us to an English way to play football. So that was a success, I think. So, but it was a journey to the final. I remember mostly, not so much the final itself.
And given your illustrious and long career in international football and playing obviously for your beloved Malmö, you must have very, very fond memories of a lifetime in football.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have that experience and you fulfill it with invitation like this, then it's very nice.
Stefan, it's been an absolute pleasure. Enjoy the rest of tonight and good luck.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to hear from Stefan Tapper there. Not a game that he will look back on with much fondness, I wouldn't have thought, not only because his team lost, but he actually went off injured during the first half, whilst the score was at 0-0. So I'm sure if David had asked him, he would have said it would have been a very different result had he been on the pitch for the full 90 minutes. But fantastic that so many of Malmö's team from that night in 1979 have been able to make the trip over to Nottingham and renew friendships more than rivalries these days between the two clubs. And hopefully they're going to be treated to a good game tonight under the lights at the City Ground. European night, something we've waited so long for, not to be taken for granted. Some great teams in the Europa League this season, but no reason to think that Forest can't have a really good run in it. Nobody pulling away from the pack either. Midtjylland, who we know all about, have 12 points. They're 2 points clear of Freiburg and Ferencváros, who, as I mentioned, Forest have still got to play. Villa in the top 8 as things stand, as the other representative from the Premier League. Some decent runs in Europe themselves, of course, haven't they? For Forest, this is the first time back in this competition since that 95-96 season. That was a memorable campaign, but nothing, of course, could compare to the back-to-back European Cup wins, which have played such a massive part in the history of not only Forest, but English football as well. It's been fantastic to reminisce about memories past, and for those of us who weren't lucky enough to be there at the time, just to get a glimpse of what has made our club quite so special, so famous and so revered throughout the world. And Forest coming into tonight's game full of confidence after that fantastic win at Anfield on Saturday. Probably feel that they should have more points on the board in the Europa League. That first game in Betis was brilliant, at least for some part. Porto here at the City Ground, absolutely fantastic performance, and some regret, I think, that 1 point didn't turn into 3 in Graz on the last match day. So in the Europa League, 8 group games to play, which is why it extends right the way into next year. But a win tonight would put Forest in a fantastic position to make it through to at least the playoff round. Obviously, the hope is that you can avoid the playoff round and thus the extra games, which come at a busy period in the season. But by hook or by crook, as long as you're through to the knockout rounds, I think that's all that really matters. Extending this first European campaign in 30 years as far into 2026 as we possibly can, as we see some more of the Malmö legends, or Malmö, as you would say in Swedish, making their way down the red carpet. And David Prutton is standing by, poised to grab some more Forest legends to talk with as we get not too far away from kickoff. There's Frank Clark. It's an even more significant night for him than many others, you would say, given the part that he played in taking Forest into Europe in 95-96, everything that Frank has meant to the club in the various different roles that he's served over the years. Huge part of Forest history, and great to have him here along with so many of his teammates from 1979 this evening. Something about the City Grounds under the lights, which is always so special. Not too cold either yet, so hopefully nobody will freeze. If you are coming to the City Ground later, though, wrap up warm is always the advice on a November night in Nottinghamshire. Well, I mentioned Frank Clark there, and we saw him. Let's go one better and talk to him. He's down there with David.
Yes, I'm now joined by Frank Clark. Frank, thank you so much for stopping by here on the red carpet. It looks like it's been a terrific day so far. Lots of memories, lots of reminiscing.
Yeah, pleasure, yeah, it's been lots of that. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
We've been chatting away in there, talking to some of their players as well. So that was an interesting experience.
And talking of interesting experiences, the 1979 European Cup final, your role in that, your memories of that, is it as vivid now as it was back then?
Yeah, it is really. The most vivid memory is I didn't expect to play,
Yeah.
I've told this story many times, but myself and Archie Gemmell and Martin O'Neill were all competing for one place. So I didn't consider myself to be the favourite.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, Brian went with me, and the rest is history.
How was that message delivered that you were playing? Was it a very simple, straight to the point, Brian Clough way of doing it?
We were warming up on the morning of the game, very, very loosely, and he was walking around and came up to me and he said, "You're playing." As simple as that.
Any nerves in that at all when he said it?
No, not really. No, just surprised and really delighted. I couldn't wait for it, really.
And given your period of time at Nottingham Forest, when potentially your career could have gone in a different path,
absolutely,
it was a choice that you made collectively. Speaking to Peter, speaking to Brian, that changed your life.
Well, I don't know whether it changed my life, but it was a nice way to finish my career. Obviously, to play in the European Cup final and win it. It was about as much as I could hope for.
And knowing where it fit in your career and what came next, I read that you didn't expect to be on your way so soon after the European Cup final, but that's how football works, isn't it?
Well, it was my own choice.
Yeah.
It was my own choice. I'd
led you on a different career path.
Yeah, I was
didn't it?
coming up 36 then, and I'd had a few aches and pains and hamstring strains, and just seemed it was the right thing to do, the right time to go. And I got a good offer to go and work as assistant manager at Sunderland. So it just seemed a good time to do it.
And of course, that was as a player, but as a manager back here as well, seeing European football, taking this team to the very top ends of the Premier League, that must be a period in your life that you're very proud of as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was, that was totally a total surprise, really. I'd more or less given up any hope or ambition of managing at the top levels. I'd been at Leyton Orient for 10, 12 years, and I'd virtually disappeared off the scene,
Yeah.
So that was a real bonus to come towards later in my career,
Does that mean that when you do get there later on in your career, does it taste even sweeter?
Well, it tasted pretty sweet. Yeah, after 12 years of battling away at Leyton Orient trying to survive, to come here and be able to get the team back into the Premier League and then go and get into Europe was a wonderful experience.
And when you are here tonight, meeting back up with the men that you shared that dressing room with, and we've got to mention those that have passed, those that can't be here tonight. Is it a bit bittersweet at times?
It is. Yeah. I mean, Dave, Larry Lloyd and Trevor, of course, are the most well-known. John is not very well. It's a shame that they're not here. I just heard today an old teammate of mine from Newcastle, Les O'Neill, has passed away. It's an occupational hazard, I'm afraid, at my age.
And do you get to see these fellas away from here? Is there a regular meeting up and spending time together?
Some of them. John Robertson, Colin Barrett, Gary Birtles. We meet quite regularly, once a week. But the rest of the lads are, they're scattered all around the country, really.
I'm intrigued to know what you talk about. Do you talk about the current state of football and where Forest are right now?
We talk a lot of rubbish, have a few drinks and talk a lot of rubbish.
What do you make of the current crop and how well they're doing?
Well, listen, I'm really pleased with the uplift that we've had since Sean came in. I think we've got a decent squad, and hopefully we can carry on and push ourselves up the league and go a bit further in this competition.
The team of 1979, how would they have fared in the current game, 2025?
Oh, it would have been wonderful, yeah. We'd have won the league, won the European Cup.
That sense of what that was to you back then, the pride that you feel, is that the overriding emotion that you take from your time here, Frank?
Yeah, the pride of what the team was, of who the boys were, how we had such a great camaraderie, team spirit, and some very good players.
And that moniker of being Forest's greatest ever free transfer?
Well, if people want to say that, that's very kind of them.
Well, I shall say that. Frank, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, David.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Back to you, Matt.
Thanks, David. Brilliant to hear from Frank Clark. Got to appreciate everything he did for Forest, not just in helping the team win the European Cup in 1979, but as he mentioned there, manager, took us back to the Premier League, finished third in the Premier League, and then to the quarterfinals of the competition that Forest are in tonight in 1995-96. It was the best run by any English side in European competition that season. And he had a spell as chairman as well. He literally done it all, Frank Clark, with friends reminiscing on 1979. Let's get some more memories, shall we? Davies with Colin Barrett.
Whichever wants to come first.
Just get him in.
Come on then. Go on, Peter.
Right, go on, I'll be quick. Go on,
Peter Shilton stepping in for Colin Barrett there. Peter, thank you so much for joining.
Pleasure. Nice
that reflects a bit of team dynamics from back in the day. Is that how it works? The goalie tells you what to do and you do what the goalie says?
That wasn't always the case, but no, it's nice of Colin to let me go first. Yeah. I think it's age before beauty.
So tonight, what that we've seen, I mean, this crowd is slowly building as well. I've been here for a little while, saw everyone in there talking ahead of the game. It looks like it's been a lovely occasion so far.
Yeah, so far it's been great. It's brought back a lot of fantastic memories for the boys.
Yeah.
We're not all here tonight. I mean, obviously Trevor's not with us anymore, and Big Larry.
Yeah.
But it was the start of something really big. You know, to win the first European Cup. It wasn't a classic game, but I think the goal was a great goal.
Thing of beauty, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I think Malmö were very good defensively, made it difficult for us. But once you get your hands on that trophy, as a boy, you dream of doing that. And to finally do it was a great feeling.
What's a goalkeeper's eye view of that goal going in? Because obviously you're a very long distance away. Are you just hoping that it's put in the right position from Robbo and that Trev's on the end of it, or just keep the ball away from your goal?
Well, I think there's two things. I mean, Robertson was fantastic at getting half a yard and whipping crosses in. And I always remember Brian Clough and Peter Taylor used to say to Trevor, "Get on that far post." And I think Trevor said, I had to get there, but his header was not as easy as it looked. But obviously it was from close in. But once my reaction was brilliant. We're 1-0 up. We don't lose too many goals. So.
And I suppose that's the key thing about it as well. How stern and stubborn that defence was, wasn't it?
Of Malmö's?
Yeah. No, yours.
Oh, well, we had a quite good defensive record, I think Malmö was built up really on defensive play, breaking away, so they made it, difficult for us. We were a very free-flowing scoring team. But no, you've got all you can do is win a game, even if it's difficult for you, and that's what we did.
And is it seen as a pivotal moment in your life? I mean, the amount of games that you played, the World Cups that you played in, the staggering highs that you encountered, Peter. Where does 1979 fit into that?
It was fantastic. I mean, the following year we won it again. And it was
just like that.
And it was a totally different game. It was our backs to the walls against Hamburg, and I had. I thought a pretty decent game. But obviously against Malmö, except for that scare, I didn't really have much to do. But all you want to do is keep a clean sheet and put your hands on that trophy. I remember as a boy, I got a trip to Madrid, and I was about 10 or 11, and they showed us how many European Cups they'd won. And it was just a thought that went through my head. All those years later, I managed to put my hands on it.
And it goes back to what Peter Taylor said, didn't he, to Brian Clough, that if you pay this much money for Peter Shilton, he'll win your games.
Well, I like to think I did my job in what was, a great team spirit. Got strength in all areas. We could defend, but we could take teams apart. We could beat teams 5 or 6. And that's what a great team's about.
Absolutely, and it was a great team, Peter. It's a pleasure to chat.
Pleasure.
Thank you so
Lovely.
much, Peter.
Nice to see you.
And you, my friend. If you could pass the mic back to Colin Barrett, we'll bring him back off the bench.
I wait, pal.
Carl, thank you so much for waiting. Appreciate your time there. You know what goalies are like. They're very domineering.
It's the first time he's come out for anything. All right.
It's been so nice to see everyone here tonight. Everyone getting on after such a long period of time. What does 1979. What does Nottingham Forest mean to you?
Well, it means everything to me personally because Brian Clough bought me, but it means a lot because what we achieved in that 5 or 6 years was, I think, incredible from lots of different things. One, a bunch of nobodies got together and performed the way we did. We upset the apple cart, we upset the establishment, we upset everybody, and at the end of the day, we won our trophies, and it's a really comforting thing that I've got trophies to look at.
And you said it upset the apple cart and the establishment. Liverpool being part of that establishment, and one that you have fond memories of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was a great night, for me, the greatest night probably that I'll be remembered for at this football club. But after that, I was in hospital bed and never made the second leg. So the ups and downs of football. So I've learned to live with that. But I mean, that night was just sensational. Manager did his bit, as he always does. He tried to address it from every angle. Alter the bonuses, which he did. So if that money was your motivation, he knocked that off the table. So then everything else just fell into place, and we fortunately went with 2 goals that night. And then the second leg, they kept a clean sheet, which we did a lot against Liverpool, which was brilliant, like they did last Saturday.
Very true. And when the draw comes in, you see Liverpool there standing in front of you. The first hurdle, the final must seem like an awfully long way away.
Well, that was our final.
Yeah.
Basically, we thought if we get through that one, we must have a chance.
Yeah.
Depending on your draw, because the way it went. But we got through that one, and then I would say nobody knew about AEK Athens. Nobody knew about what we did in the Cologne one, the semi-final that night. I mean, I can still remember Peter Taylor saying, "You'll beat these 5," and then
really,
we'll beat these 5.
Yeah,
I can remember him saying it. And
did you believe him when he said things like that?
No, no. And then by half time we were down 2-1 or 3-1 or whatever it was, and then we managed to get a 3-3, and then Bomber scores in the semi-final away, and they get into the final.
The way that the team managed to navigate through Europe, did it feel like an adventure at the time? Because we look back at it now, it's a fairy story, isn't it?
Well, you talk about games played, and this guy, if we had a blank weekend, he'd try and get a testimonial some way. But it was just one of those scenarios that we were playing Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, all the way through. So it was just another game some of these nights. But then it was when you get on the flights, then you start to say, all right, we're going. And then you go to a different part of the country or a country that you don't know about. And then all you are is in the hotel room, and then you're walking down, because he's fond of, let's go for a walk. And then you're walking around somebody's capital city, and it just
as
a tourist. And then obviously you play your game, and then you're on the flight home.
And then it's done and dusted. European champions.
That's it.
Happy days. Colin, thank you so much for your time. It's so good to see you. Look really, really well. Have a good time tonight and enjoy it.
Cheers, kid.
Thank you so much. Colin Barrett there on fond memories, and in particular that goal, of course, against Liverpool. Back to you, Matt.
What a legend. Colin Barrett is a still regular here at
the
ground. As are so many people that we're hearing from tonight, and that is what is one of the wonderful things about our football club, is that it respects its past and embraces its future to such a fabulous extent. Well, we're only a little more than 2 hours away from kick-off now. Still plenty of revelry to be had by the class of 79 from both Forest and Malmö, and then all attention will switch soon enough to tonight's game and the classes of 2025 going at it. Can Forest get 3 points, which would put them in a great position in terms of extending the European adventure for a little longer. So Malmö tonight, then Utrecht, Braga and Ferencváros to come. Mentioned Ferencváros doing pretty well so far in 3rd position before we get underway here tonight. But for Forest, well, anything could happen. As I said, so close. 12 points Midtjylland who lead it. Forest on 5, and not much between very many of the other teams in it. So all up for grabs. Right, let's head back down to David and hear from one of the heroes of 79. It's Ian Bowyer.
10 years?
You're asking, right? Ian, we're making small talk because we know each other really, really well. Bomber, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to talk. You asked me what I'm up to. I'm up to talking to people like you here tonight.
You're very lucky then, aren't you?
1979, Malmö. Everyone's been in there having a wonderful time catching up. Can you give me a flavour of what the chat's been like and the memories?
Well, we've been trying our best to try and mix a little bit. So we've been chatting away to the Swedish lads, and they've remembered somebody getting an elbow or a kick here and all that.
Not from you?
No, not from me.
Not, no.
Generally Kenny Burns. But no, you just reminisce and you just immediately go back to 1979. To the extent I think Frank Clark's got the same clothes on.
Is it as vivid though as time passes?
It is.
Yeah.
It is, because it's the highlight of your professional career. And it's not just the players and everything. It's the whole city that's such a fond memory of that time. Certainly, I had 4 members of my family that drove from Ellesmere Port, which is in Cheshire, all the way to Munich. We actually had one lad from Nottingham, and he cycled all the way to Munich. He did, and he gets back tomorrow.
Very well.
No, that is true. That is true.
Got there, got to the game, enjoyed the whole thing.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that shows what it meant to people from all around here. Is that the love that you felt all the time that you've been in Nottingham?
I think so. It's obviously the highlight of my career, and I had 2 of my children were born here. It's a very special place to me and to my family, and it's just fantastic now to see the club doing so well.
And it's a special bond between players, management, the staff, the club as a whole that lives on, doesn't it?
It's not something you can put a name to, but it's just there that you immediately pick up how you were all those years ago. I mean, I don't live locally now, so for me it's even better to see so many people I haven't seen for maybe 6 months, 12 months.
Yeah. And everyone talks about Trevor's goal in the final, but there was quite an important one in the semis, wasn't there?
There was an important 2 in the semis. Oh, don't you start now, David, because I scored 2 goals in the semi-final.
Yes, of course. I always did think one was more important than the other, but that's obviously down to your personal preference.
Yeah.
And
Obviously
key moments in key games.
Yes, that's right. And I mean, people keep telling me how long ago it was, and it is scary to think that in those days I used to pick Viv Anderson up before he had a driving licence, and I used to run him here, there and everywhere, and I must admit when we went and got to the final, our trip home from East Midlands Airport to Viv's house was chaotic. In those days, we used to charter, the club used to charter aircraft, and we'd take a plane full of punters. Of course, you get to the car park, and you're in a queue. So Viv's got out the car and he charges his way to the front of the queue and waved me through, and little stupid things that make part of it.
Yeah, but glory days, and very well deserved glory days.
Great days.
Bomber, it's been a pleasure to see you again, my friend. It was a pleasure to play underneath you. That exasperated look that you kept giving me when I couldn't pass to my own team still lives long in the memory.
No, that's not true.
Not a patch on you. Right, go in there and go and enjoy yourself.
That was Andy Reid.
That was Andy Reid. Anyway, hello, Reid.
He didn't want to pass.
And this man, of course, is going to go in and enjoy himself. Ian Bowie, thank you so much for your time. It's been a wonderful night here tonight, speaking to all of the legends. Some here, some have passed on. You keep going, my friend. Ian Bowie there, causing trouble, as he always tended to do. But this night wouldn't be the same without leaving the last word to one very, very special man. Brian Clough, take it away.
There's the European Cup. You won it twice.
Yep.
Could it ever happen for Nottingham Forest again?
I don't know. I hope. Obviously, you've always retained some hope, because you never know what's going to happen. But all I can say is to assure you it's going to be a hell of a long time.
Robertson, the first time we've seen them attack them, and there's Francis! European Cup, the come to Nottingham Forest.